I loved every book that I read this month. I read 8 books this month, and I'm going to tell you guys what they are. Oh, okay, the sun is going down, so I have to make this quick. So first, I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. These are some chunky books. Last month, I ended the month reading the Shadow and Bone series. I thought the Shadow and Bone series was okay. Like, it was good at times. I feel like there's times where I was kind of just dragging my feet with it. I was finishing it just to like finish the series because it had been on my TBR for a while, and I knew that I needed to read it. We're not going to talk about the Shadow and Bone series, even though I just talked about it because I didn't read those this month. I read these 2 this month, and the reason why I brought those up is because, in my opinion, I feel as if it is necessary to read those 3 books before you read this duology, especially in Six of Crows. If you don't read Shadow and Bone, you're kind of going to be confused in the beginning because you're going to be like, what is this world that they live in? You're just going to be confused on a lot of things. Like, you're just like not going to really know what's going on. Because even though this book is like completely different characters and it's a completely different plot, they still reference like the Darkling and Sancta Elena and Grisha and just all those kind of things. So I highly suggest to read Shadow and Bone and then read Six of Crows. The only way that I can describe these characters is it's as if fantasy meets Money Heist. Money Heist is a show on Netflix. I got heavy Money Heist vibes from this duology. Like, it was amazing. These 2 books, yes, they're chunky, but I could not put it down. Like, every character was highly interesting. Each paragraph is a different character's point of view. And the whole plot of these 2 books is it's these 6 characters, and Kez, he is put in charge to perform a heist. But the problem is he can't do the heist alone. So he gathers these 6 people, and it was just so cool learning about all these 6 different personalities and how they all work together. And of course, I love when books have like a slight subplot of romance. Like, I feel like I just like personally need that in my life. Next, I read Hook, Line, and Sinker. I have been waiting for this book for months. Ever since I read It Happened One Summer last year. Hookline Sinker follows Brendan's best friend Fox and Piper's sister Hannah. I enjoyed Hookline Sinker, I would say, even more than It Happened One Summer. It's friends to lovers. My favorite thing is that the way Hannah's mind works is she thinks in songs. So if she's feeling very happy, she's like, okay, what song will perfectly portray how I'm feeling right now? And I loved to learn about Fox because all of his life he's been known as a womanizer, someone who just sleeps around, plays, can never take anything seriously. But Hannah really just like hones him in and really just like helps him through all of that. And the way they connected was through music, and I just loved their story. He absolutely worships the ground that she walks on, and she's so protective over him, so it was super, super cute. Kind of gives me Love in Other Words vibes by Christina Lauren. If you enjoy this book, you should definitely read that book, or vice versa. We just need to take a moment of silence for this book. Like, I mean, come on. Anthony Bridgerton, like, I'm in love with you as every other girl in this world since season 2 of Bridgerton has come out. Once I learned that Bridgerton was literally a book series, I was like, okay, as anyone does, I'm gonna read the books. So I heard that the second one was gonna be about Anthony's story, and that everyone was saying that this second book is the best out of the 8. They were like, he has the best story, best plot line, blah, blah, blah. So I was very, very excited to read this book. I was like, okay, said and done, easy, reading it. All of a sudden, Anthony decides, okay, I need to find a Viscountess. And so, of course, all these ladies start lining up for him to get his attention. And then he catches Miss Edwina, and he decides to try to marry her. But, of course, it's not that easy. Then he quickly learns that in order to marry Edwina, he has to get through her sister, Kate. And Kate is very just not for it. Like, she's very, very protective over her sister. She's not going to just let any man, no matter his title, his rank, come in and marry her sister if she truly, truly does not see him fit. He and Kate, like, their banter is really something else. Two strong-minded people. She's very sure of herself. She knows what she wants. Him doing the same. And groveling. If anybody is going to make a man grovel, it is Kate. I do have a bone to pick with Netflix. Because literally was watching the show and it was nothing like the books. Literally nothing like the book. Probably like the first episode, maybe up to the second episode, I was like, okay, this happened in the book. But then everything after that was completely different. Like, they changed, I'm not even kidding you, the entire plot of the book. Which is like, was like very upsetting to me, because I was like, the plot in the book just makes Anthony and Kate's story make much more sense, and it makes it way more valuable than the plot that they chose to go with in the show. And I quickly realized apparently the producers for Bridgerton, the Netflix series, aren't going to be following the plot to the books. And I don't know how I feel about that, because I'm like, I really want to read the books, but if the books are going to be nothing like the show, then I'm just going to keep getting my hopes up. I'm going to be like, keep being disappointed in a way. The fine print and terms and conditions. These are the first two books in the Dreamland Billionaire series. There's going to be 3 because there's 3 brothers. And only the first 2 are out right now. I simply cannot get enough of these characters. The first book follows Rowan and Zara. What came out of my mouth? I annotated, you cannot even tell. I annotated so much in this book because I feel like there was just so much to highlight, so much to say. These characters were just talking in quotes. Like, I swear, everything they said was amazing. Both point of views, like, it was just everything. And my favorite thing is when, in a girl's point of view, she thinks that the guy hates her so much, but then you get to his point of view and he's literally worshiping every little thing that she does, but he doesn't show that on his exterior. That's just the best thing, and I love dual point of views because of that main reason. It's just very clear from the beginning how infatuated Rowan is with Zara. So one day he kisses her after a board meeting, and it kind of just like flips everything upside down. And from that moment forward, they're both like, okay, like, that was weird. Let's just like act like it didn't happen. I really loved how Zara was very strong. Like, she didn't just fold for him, because if it was me, I would have folded literally instantly. Lauren Asher is a funny author. Like, the way she writes, like, actually had me like laughing out loud, had me like kind of giggling, because the things she would just say weren't cheesy. Like, because I know sometimes when authors try to be funny in their books, it's kind of just like, why are you doing that? Like, take that back. That's so cringy. Don't do that. Don't do that. But when she did it, I was like, give me more and more and more. This is hilarious. So kudos to her for that, because it made the reading experience 10 times more entertaining. I don't know much more to say about this, because there's so many things, so many great things that happens within the book that's obviously not on our description back here. And I don't want to spoil anything. Like, I kind of just like don't want to tell you anything, because I didn't know anything about this book. I only knew what was on the back page before I read it, and I'm grateful about that. So not even going to tell you guys anything about it besides go read it. Iris and Declan. From this moment forward, don't call me Cambrie. Literally, don't call me Cambrie. My name is Iris. I go by Iris now. Please and thank you. My husband is Declan. Thank you. Goodbye. Oh, I kind of matched the cover with my green. If you get it, you get it with the green. Like, we have Iris, aka me. She is an African-American female. So automatically, when I found out that she was black, I was like, I'm reading this book. Declan, he kind of just like made me laugh in a way because he was such a hard ass, and he just literally just would not even give you an inch. And it was just very, very obvious from the beginning that he had such a soft spot for Iris. And the catch with his book is, oh, I guess I need to explain this. So all three brothers have an agreement with their grandfather who passes away. He was the owner, director of Dreamland, and then he passed away, and in his will, he left something that all three grandsons needed to do in order to inherit certain things within Dreamland. For Rowan, he has to make like a very interesting new ride for Dreamland, and it's going to go through the creative board, and if it's approved by the creative board, he inherits his money from his grandfather. With Declan, he had to get married and have a baby in order to get his inheritance. Iris is his assistant, and after him just being very, very difficult and not wanting any of these girls, ditching these girls, bribing these girls with money so that they don't marry him, who would even ever do that? After doing all of that, she's like, okay, crap, like, I have to save him, like, we're in this predicament. He has to marry someone and have a baby no matter what, so, like, what are we gonna do? Here comes Iris, and she's like, I'll do it, I'll marry you. So then they start, like, this whole fake dating thing. Fake dating is another trope that I am just all for. I'm petitioning right now that if one day the Fine Print series ever becomes a limited series or a movie of some sort, I call being Iris. Thank you. Next is the Kiss Quotient. This was just one of those books that was like very, very easy to pick up and just fly through because it's just very entertaining and very funny, and the characters are just amazing, especially Stella. So Stella has Asperger's, or what you would call it now is high functioning autism, and her parents, especially her mom, is very like, okay, Stella, like, you're however old, you don't have a boyfriend, you don't have a fiance, you don't like have any babies, like, all you care about is your job, like, what are you doing with your life? Like, clearly you need these things to be happy, right? Or at least according to her mom, you do. So then Stella's like, oh my God, I don't know the first thing that comes to relationships, first thing that comes to sex, any of those things. So what does she do? As any person would do, obviously, she hires an escort. She hires Michael. Michael is the escort, and the agreement she makes with him is, okay, you are gonna get me ready to become sexually active with other partners. Their whole agreement was, you help me be good at sex, is how she described it in the book. She said, I want to be good at sex. I need you to help me, Michael. And he's like, okay, like, that's a weird thing to ask considering I'm an escort. Like, okay, this is supposed to be like one and done, but there's something about Stella that Michael just can't get enough of. So of course he agrees to it. And as any story, of course, any romance, you know, one agreement always leads to another. It always leads to more feelings. This book was just highly entertaining. I loved it. And that was really just all that was. I ran out of sunlight, and I have one more book to share. To put into simple words, it was phenomenal. It was beautifully written. The imagery in this book goes crazy. Like, I have never read a book that was so creative with the wording and the imagery, and this book is just pure art. Like, this book is what I feel like art is in words. It's amazing. It follows Noah and Jude. They are twins. Jude is a girl, Noah is a boy. It follows both of their stories, two love stories. Something tragic happens to them in their adolescence, and this tragic event leads to a ripple of many other things that happens with these two twins. And it was amazing because In the earlier years, you have Noah's side of the story, and he kind of explains ages like 12 to 14 is him explaining how life was, and him with this boy that he meets, and him with his sister and his mom and his dad, and how art is his life. Their mom really wants them to get into this art school, and it kind of just like everything is building up to them getting in. And then in Jude's point of view, you have them in like now. They're 16 years old. They're both in two different places in their lives, and you kind of notice this disconnect between the two. Things are not the same. It's no longer Noah and Jude, as in like one word. It is now Noah. Oh, and Jude's there as well. And instantly, I was just like, what happened? What wrong? Like, why are they not as close as anymore? Why do they not talk as much anymore? Where's this person? Who's this person? Wait, that person that we were introduced with, where did they go? And it was just very interesting because every other chapter you either get Noah or you get Jude, and it switches between the past and the present. And the way everything connected in this book had me literally shook. Like once I was getting towards the end, so many missile puzzle pieces that I had while reading and so many things that I was confused about all made sense. It's like every piece of the puzzle just locked in and created this beautiful, beautiful picture and this beautiful story. All I can say is if you're thinking about reading this book and you're like, I don't know, if you started reading it and you're like, oh, it's kind of slow, because it is a little slow in the beginning. There's so much that happens with these two that you have to know everything in order to understand everything in the end. So just remember that. All the things that they're telling you in the beginning, read it, understand it, because in the end, it all will be worth it. One word to describe it would be, this book is captivating. Follow me on my Goodreads. I am going to have it linked down below. That is where I keep track of all the books that I've read. That is all the books that I read in March. Like I said, I enjoyed every book I read in March. It was a very, very great reading month. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I know I can ramble, especially when it comes to books. I can just talk. I can never shut up when it comes to books. I hope you have a good day or a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.